Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Experts. Thanks, Quinn, for letting me know I'm on mute. So welcome to this session. This is the time for you to ask us all the questions about IoT plug and play. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. So first, I just want to talk about how to engage with us. So just go ahead and use the chat to ask all of your questions. We have our speakers here who will answer the questions live, and then we also have folks in the chat from the different teams at Microsoft IoT and our amazing MVPs to help answer questions. So go ahead, upvote your favorite questions. This is a great way to let us know if you also want to hear the answer to someone else's question. And then we're going to go ahead and provide some resources at the end at the session for you to learn more and get started. So this session will be recorded, and so this is exciting. If you saw something where you wanted to share out to other folks, answer, you can lead them to this session. You might actually be a little bit of famous if we call your name out on the question that you ask. So just keep that in mind, and then also help our moderators out. So help me out. I'm going to be your moderator today. Don't spam the chat. But we've never had that issue before, and we love our community, and our community's always been amazing there. Just go ahead and just ask your questions. And then we do have a Microsoft Code of Conduct. We're one big family here, and we want everyone to feel welcome. And so we're excited to get started. And if you see anything or if you're reading anything, let us know. We'll be in the chat. We want to make sure everyone feels great during this session. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about our speakers. I'm joined here today with my colleagues, and I'm excited to have the dream team. They have been working with IoT plug and play since the beginning when we've went in was in preview and now or private and now preview and now parts of it GA. So I'm going to hand it off and introduce Quinn. Quinn, do you want to give a little bit about yourself and your interesting fact, which I really loved?
Yes, thank you, Pamela. Hello, everyone. My name is Quinn Trend. I'm a PM in the Azure Edge and Platform team, and part of my role is to help with the enablement of IoT plug and play in our partner ecosystems. And in order to, help with my training skills, I attempt to explain the IoT plug and play concept to a couple third grade and fourth grade classes to just see how could I be at explaining? And it turned out I'm not. It turned into a video games conversations, but woo, early adoptions. I got it accomplished by saying it out there and let the kid be aware. Anyhow, it's my pleasure to be here today.
It's a whole new meaning of early adoption. So,
very early.
All right, and then our next speaker is Daisuke, which your interesting fact just kind of blew my mind with the 20 years ago, how you're working with Windows. Could you talk about a little bit more about that?
Hi, my name is Daisuke Nakahara. I'm an IoT technical specialist. Yes, I joined Microsoft a little while ago, and I was part of a CTI enablement team for Windows 2000, and so I worked on power management, and the plug and play with the OEMs around the world. Now, after 20 years, I'm working, plug and play in a slightly different context, but I'm super excited. So I've been working on IoT plug and play last maybe 2 years with our partners to get started.
That's so crazy to think that you're working with Windows plug and play, and now it's finally got to IoT. So I'm really excited about that. And then our last speaker today is Koichi. Did you want to give a little bit about what your work was with Windows PC and now?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Koichi Hiro. I'm a program manager in Azure IoT. I've been Microsoft for about 15 plus years already. I spent most of my Microsoft career started with a sales team as a tech specialist, and then I moved over to the Windows team to drive Windows device ecosystem. One of the things I drive in Windows when I was in PM in Windows was if you see a nagging pop-up for you to urge you to update your Windows, I did that. So I'll take some of the blame of frequent updates on that piece, but something that I get proud of to drive 1 billion of devices to make sure that all the Windows are staying current, get to current and stay current. So after that, I spent I've been with the Azure IoT team for 2 years working on, right now I'm working primarily on plug and play and defining plug and play certification program.
That's amazing. And the updates are important. So we're just going to pretend like sometimes the updates don't happen when you don't need them to while you're trying to work. Okay, wonderful. And then for just a little bit about myself, my name is Pamela Cortez. My background is in hardware, used to work at SparkFun Electronics, and my third favorite component is capacitors. So if you ever want to geek out on hardware, open source hardware, or just any type of hardware, just let me know. You can follow me on Twitter. And I'm on the Azure IoT team focusing on device developer communities. All right, so to get started, Daisuke, do you want to talk a little bit about how Sam did that announcement for IoT plug and play, the platform, and that the SDK is GA'd, and a little bit about plug and play, just a level set, and then we'll jump right into the questions, because I see we have tons of questions now.
I'm very excited. Yes, so one of the challenges in IoT is this, sounds very simple, but connecting devices, IoT without things, that it's not just OT, right? So connecting the devices to IoT solution is one of the biggest, most challenging tasks in building IoT solutions. There are many reasons, we have to support so many different types of devices, and each devices have their own way to communicate. And the dependency between the solutions and the devices, that's one of the challenges. And with the IoT plug and play, we are trying to unlock this dependency or coupling. And with the IoT plug and play platform and SDK GA, we have everything ready for developers to start coding for the devices as well as the solutions. With this one, IoT plug and play is just a technology enabler, and we are enabling IoT plug and play on different Azure services. And so with these set of services and tools for the developers, we are start accepting the certification submissions. Do you want to add a little comment on the certification, Koichi?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, so we made the certification program available last month. So we start accepting the final certification program for all of the plug and play enabled devices. One of the promises for the plug and play certification is that we want to make sure that all the certified plug devices, which is the plugin part, is pluggable to any of the Azure IoT services, including our PaaS offerings and SaaS offerings, like including IoT Central and so forth, such that we can deliver end-to-end promises of a plug and play with the solution. And as Daisuke and Sam George has mentioned multiple times, we want to give the promise of this breaking out of this tight coupling, or breaking the barrier between the device and the solution integration, and to make the seamless solution development using plug and play enabled devices.
Okay, wonderful. So we have tons of questions in chat, so we'll just jump right in. The first one I see is talking about certification, and this is a little bit different than the device certification. This is, for device developers who want to get certified. It's very much like our Microsoft Azure IoT developer specialty certification, where you are certified that you know all of our cloud solutions or products and services. Do we have something in the works that we're thinking about for plug and play?
So I could take on that question. This is for the developer certification who can be who can maybe author a device models, be able to, not for the devices, but as an individual, correct?
Yes, as an individual, yeah.
Yeah. Something we've been thinking about and definitely in the plan is where not only the device certification, something we can certify against individual professionals who knows how to build a device model, who knows how to integrate these, take these plug and play enabled devices and build a solution off of it. Something we can think we're currently thinking about.
That's wonderful. And I know that, you know, the reason why we built the Azure IoT Developer Specialty Certification was based on all the feedback that we heard from all of you in the tech community, user voice, from partners and customers. So if you're interested in having a certification there, when it comes to embedded developers, definitely keep sharing that feedback. And it sounds like we're going to be looking into it as well, potentially. The next one is which peripherals and sensors are supported by default with IoT plug and play, if any? If we have any sensor support or anything like that.
It's interesting. By default, well, the IoT plug and play applies to any devices. So IoT plug and play is the kind of the way you communicate with the solution side. So as long as you have things like settings, properties, command, and telemetry, you like to communicate, how the solution should contact the device and how to make them, call your functions or methods. That's what it does. So maybe starting small, very simple sensor type of devices up to the like a gateway type devices. It really doesn't matter. Simple sensor which only sends the telemetry, maybe easiest to start with. And if you go up the ladder, technology ladder or capabilities, adding more methods and the interaction model, it gets very interesting. But more features, more functionality means enriches the use cases and solution side. So.
Okay, thank you, Daisuke. The next question is it possible to generate some code from the DTDL model? For instance, device simulation.
Yes. We are working on some tools like that, but at this point we don't have the tool ready. Simulation, yes, you can run anything in the simulator as long as your device code reacts and responds to the commands and messages from the cloud, and you know how to send the telemetry and so forth. So, for example, if you want to send the temperature data without the temperature sensor, you kind of have to make it up. But other than that, there's nothing to stop from you using the simulator. But not for certification. We are looking for to see real devices, end user ready devices to be certified. So for the test purpose, yeah, go ahead and use the simulator. But for the certification, please make sure you use the real devices.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead, Quinn.
Yeah. Just a second. What Daisuke say? Even though we're still working on the tool to simplify the code chain, however, it should not stop you from being able to just go online on our website and click into the samples and start to get the feel of how IoT plug and play device like, what is the device capable, the DT-MI look like, what is the device model look like. So I would strongly encourage you to just today go into our public website that Pamela will share later at the end, to just browse through it and get the feel of it and see how you want to adopt it. Back to you, Pam.
Wonderful. And Quinn, that kind of sets up nicely for the next question. So maybe if you want to continue answering this question, how do you suggest folks get started with plug and play? Do you need to buy a device? Which devices are supported at this moment? Could you elaborate a little bit more there?
Yes, definitely. As part of the early adoption for IoT plug and play, we help a lot of our partners, silicon partners as well, device builders, to certify the device. And so I think the fastest way to start is to start getting your hand dirty. Go onto our website, in which we're going to include a section called samples, and depend on your case scenarios where you say, hey, I kind of want to try our constrained device, then maybe click to the constrained device samples to try out and see how our embedded SDK working to enable your connection with DPS and eventually help with the development of plug and play. But if you have a different need, like, oh, I don't think I want MCU class device, I want an MPU class device, I believe we also have a sample as well. So the first step is to go on our websites. I think at best, maybe you can start from the catalog, where you can see which device already certifies already and start from there. That would be the first step.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Quinn. I just want to add a couple of things. Yeah, thanks, Quinn. So regarding the samples, yes, we have spent a lot of efforts and investments to make sure that the samples as part of SDK that supports 5 languages are kind of certifiable, such that we can make sure that if you take the samples or build a device application, is ready. The sample itself should be is close to the actual certifiable product, such that you can just actually take the sample, simulate them, and you can start getting your hands wet on that. And there will be some upcoming devices coming from our key device builder partners, and that will be coming. That will be showcasing the device catalog as a certified product very, very soon.
Wonderful, thank you. So there are a couple more comments to that. We do have some IoT show episodes that are linked into chat, and I'll give a link at the end to our developer blog post that has a link to those IoT show episodes as well. But that's where we deep dive a little bit more into plug and play, and then we have an upcoming event called Deep Dives, where we're actually bringing our speakers back to talk about plug and play and the certification as well. And I love that Peter pointed out in chat, you do not need to buy a device. You can explore and experiment from your PC, which I think is a great call out. So another question is, if someone already has a device and they're already using the Azure SDKs to communicate to Azure with IoT Hub, what are some changes that they need to do on the device side to get ready and work with plug and play?
I can take this. So if you, hi folks, this is Stefan. If you already have a device implemented using our Azure IoT SDKs that connects to Azure IoT Hub or IoT Central, then the changes to make are really very small, simple, and straightforward. In many cases, it can be as simple as adding a single line to your code that now announces the model ID that describes your device. And then you can go ahead, author that model file using the DTDL, the digital twins definition language, to describe the telemetry properties and commands that you have already implemented, and then you're good to go. In some cases, you may need to make some additional tweaks to your code to make sure your current implementation conforms with the IoT plug and play conventions, and you will be able to pass the certification process.
Wonderful, thanks, Stefan. Another question that we have is, which I love this question, and this is a question we get a lot, is if they use IoT plug and play for devices that do not communicate directly to IoT Hub, but through a gateway, what are some things that they need to think about when working with IoT plug and play? Do they have to do some other changes in the code, or how's that work if you have a device connected through a gateway, then talking to IoT Hub?
Sure. So the initial release of IoT plug and play and with Azure IoT Edge will support so-called transparent gateway scenario, meaning if your leaf device is the IoT plug and play ready, IoT Edge gateway will pass all the information needed to the IoT Hub. So from your Leaf devices point of view, there's nothing special you have to do. And the module, IoT Edge module, can act as a IoT plug and play device or module, but the IoT Edge gateway itself being IoT plug and play device, support will come later.
Thank you, Daisuke. Another question is, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing I want to add, in addition to IoT Edge scenario, for the traditional gateway devices that basically does translation or day-to-day translation that may not have IoT Edge runtime on it, we are working on providing guidance on how to send device models through gateway devices, and there are different kind of topologies, whether it's a Leaf devices directly sending its identities without going through gateways, or through going gateways, and etc. So there are different type of configuration we need to think about. We were looking to provide additional guidance on how we do that and how we certify against them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for adding that more information there. So a question it sounds like more like a way for us to clarify a little bit more of the relationship with digital twins. The question from Roger is, how does plug and play currently relate to digital twins and time series insights models, example types? Is there support for this now, or will there be support in the future? So it might be worth talking about the DTDL. If someone wants to take that on, and just to let you know, this might be our last question before we need to jump off.
Yeah, I can talk to this. So first of all, both IoT plug and play and Azure Digital Twins use the same digital twins definition language to declare capabilities and to define the models. And the time series insights follows the same or is adopting the same language to be used for their models. So they all agree on the same language. So that's the first step here. But the other thing also to add here is that when you connect your IoT plug and play device to an Azure IoT hub, the way that device is represented on the backend side to two services, and this includes the first-party services as well as your own or any third-party services that are downstream from IoT Hub, they will see your device as a digital twin using the exact same sort of rendering of the properties and the capabilities. So that will allow seamless integration in the future, not only with these Microsoft provided services, but also with your own and third-party services that build on top of the digital twins concept.
Okay, wonderful. Oh, go ahead,
Can I second that real quick? Yes. Thank you, Stefan, for the clarifications. I just want to pull us back a little bit and just thinking about the IoT plug and play versus Azure Digital Twins. So if you think at the very high level, in terms of modeling, Azure IoT plug and play is the modeling of a device, of asset, right? That was something that Sam talked in his 30 minutes earlier. And then digital twin is more like modeling the environment. So in a sense, you can think of IoT plug and play as a subset of Azure Digital Twins in terms of modeling. You use multiple twins that Stefan just talked before using IoT plug and play and plug into and connect those twins, and those twins become a mesh. And that mesh is Azure Digital Twins. That's it. That's something that I just want to clarify.
Yes, love it, Quinn. So thank you for jumping in there. And then we do have time for one more question. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the question, what are some good devices to get your feet wet with Azure IoT? So maybe we could do round table of what's everyone's favorite device to just get started with when you're working with Azure IoT as a whole. Maybe Quinn?
Yes. So this is something coming up, but I've been working with Microchip on the PIC IoT WX dev kit, and it's definitely my favorite. And it's going to be IoT plug and play certified soon. So definitely check it out. And I believe ST also have multiple dev kit that got certified as well on their catalog. So watch out for those.
Yes. Daisuke?
Well, it really depends on type of work, type of role you are in. If you are more on the device developers, things like Raspberry Pi or DevKit, those are my favorites. Here's one from a company called The Seed. This is very convenient, and you can, they have everything open source. So if I want to add some, functions, I can easily do that. But for the solutioning, you may be looking for more commercial ready type of devices, and then I'll go to the Azure device catalog and look for something, meets my requirements, and go get, play with those.
All right, Koichi?
Yeah, so Quinn and Daisuke talk about dev kits and ready-to-go devices. I'm going to talk about like a gateway device, which is coming from Advantech, who is one of the biggest gateway manufacturer based in Taipei. They have 200 plus product offerings. They do have gateway plus connected compatible sensor huge ecosystem for them, and they're also a distributor as well. So I recommend those type of companies who produce gateways have compatible sensors in their whole ecosystem so that they can have a gateway plus a sensor ready to go solution.
Wonderful. And I just noticing the time, so we'll need to jump into the resources area, but I'm just going to do a quick shout out to the Discovery Kit with ST, and then the Expressive ESP32 kit. I love this because it's got that little micro LED display on there, OLED display on there. So it's just really nice to get started. You got your sensors ready to go. But we'll jump into the resources on how everyone can get started. We have 3 key links for you. One is the Learn IoT. So this is on our Microsoft Learn site. We have full learning paths on IoT to teach you anywhere from how to connect devices, how to visualize devices, how to work with IoT Central. And so definitely check that out. And we have a full collection for Ignite. The next is we've created a developer blog post that has all of these different resources that you've probably heard of during the sessions, but we wanted one nice blog post for you to check out, and that link is there, and we'll also add it in the chat. And then the last one is our upcoming deep dives. We do run every Wednesday a technical deep dive, and we're going to be talking about plug and play, certification. Next week, next Wednesday, we're going to be talking about Azure Sphere over-the-air updates. So come join those events. That's the link to see all of them and upcoming. You can add the calendar invites, notifications, and YouTube for those upcoming events. So I want to do a huge shout out to all of our speakers. Thank you so much for joining. A huge call out for everyone who's asked question and joined our session, and we really appreciate all of you. So thank you so much, and we hope all of you have a great day, afternoon, and night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.